It is way too early in the morning on a random Monday for this stuff to be going on, and I don't have the energy for it. I promise you I don't. I promise you I don't have the energy for it, and I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm gonna try to be calm and controlled because I got a puppy in the other room, and the last thing we need is for her to be running around and screaming at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I am going to try to control myself and be as calm as humanly possible. I won't be successful. So if y'all hear barking in the background, that's my fault because I done woke up my puppy and the entire neighborhood. Kyrie Irving. Let me read the tweet. Let's not even let me read the tweet. Welcome back to Nets Republic. I had a feeling the next video would be Kyrie related. This is just how the offseason seems to work. Let's read the actual tweet itself. This comes from Shams or however you say his name. No one has given me any clarity whatsoever. So this is coming from, I'm gonna say Shams, I guess. Sources, quote. And what does that mean when they say sources? Like, a breaking. Ain't nothing breaking. Things are very much still put together. There's no cracks in the seams. But anyway, sources. Sources. Kyrie Irving, Nets are at an impasse in conversations about his future in Brooklyn, clearing the way for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open market. Lakers and Knicks expected to emerge as potential rumor suitors. Now, no offense to Shams, and I really mean this, no offense to him, but this idea of anyone going to the Knicks in free agency, please let that die. Please let that fan base just be happy with whatever it is that they have going on in their lives and leave it at that. Because continuing to insert them in rumors only makes them more toxic. I can tell you from personal experience, it only makes them more toxic. And let me be clear. Kyrie Irving has shifting opinions on things, but going to the Knicks is nowhere near his radar. If he were to go to the Knicks with Dolan being in charge, I'm going to be honest, it's going to be difficult for me to not just be on him for the rest of his life verbally. That's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be one gigantic contradiction. And while you Knicks fans can ignore the fact that you have a racist owner, Kyrie doing that is a different type of level. So we can exclude that. We can exclude him going to the Suns for the exact same reason. So let's just ignore that for a second. But the Lakers seems a little bit more realistic. They don't like Russ. You know, Russ comes back to Brooklyn, which is a little nasty. And I'm getting a little far ahead of myself, but I'm just kind of word vomiting here. If he were to go to the Lakers in a sign and trade and that involved Russell Westbrook, I just need someone to save us, because that would imply that we have Westbrook and Ben Simmons on the same team. And again, I just need someone to save us as fans at that point, because I don't know if I could sit through a season of that. I'm gonna be quite honest with y'all. These would be very, very depressing videos. I'm gonna keep it an entire being with you. That would be a very difficult season to sit through. So before we start talking trade scenarios, which we'll do that in another video, I just want to talk about the general impact of this and the two different ways we can look at it, keeping it all the way a that way. The one way we can look at it is a little bit of a positive. The fact that Sean Marks has finally woken up and said, you know what? Kyrie basically ruined last season for us and destroyed our final chance at a championship. Maybe we should trade him. And with that mentality, either trade him or just let him walk, or however the contracts work. I understand that. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for that. It's a little too late for that. We discussed around the time the Ben Simmons Harden trade happened that it was officially too late. You had a chance and you are too late. He had already destroyed the entire season, and in our last sliver of chance and hope to make it work, you could have just up and traded Kyrie for Ben. It would have been a little late, but at least that's what you can try to do to have some semblance of hope for the future. But they decided to trade Harden, who was at the time the only full-time player who was able to play. Granted, he was dragging his feet and trying to get out immediately, but I really feel like it came down to Kyrie or Harden, and we chose Kyrie for some reason, and we're stuck with this. So now if you are to trade Kyrie Irving, now you're going to be bringing in probably someone who is not at his level or tier. Like Westbrook is not at Kyrie's level whatsoever, and he never was. Let's keep it all the way at being. Granted, he won an MVP, but let's relax ourselves just a teensy bit. Current Westbrook is not Kyrie. That's not an equal trade. I mean, if it's Damian Lillard or something like that, then okay. Oh no, okay. If we're trading for Damian Lillard, make it happen. I'll sign the papers for you. But in the high chances that it's for someone who is not really going to benefit us, it's just a disgruntled star from some other team that was good at one point, but maybe not so much anymore, like that Aaron Gordon trade y'all been trying to make for the last 5 years now. It has to be for someone who is literally going to impact us on an extreme level. Someone who is capable of carrying the team to dubs if Kevin Durant is hurt. Someone who is able to carry the team to dubs if we're just getting nothing out of Ben Tennyson. It has to be an equal trade. And unfortunately, at this point, there is no trade outside of a Damian Lillard that's going to make sense. It's too late, Sean. We're stuck with Kyrie Irving. Not to mention Kevin Durant is going to be pissed. It's too late, Sean. We're stuck with him. How about the other players on the team who still kind of like him a little bit? There's not many, but there's a couple, I'm sure. It's too late, bro. We're stuck with him. What if Kyrie doesn't want to leave? And he tries to retire while under contract and we get nothing from him whatsoever. What if he doesn't want to leave? You're too late, Sean. We are stuck with this man. And when I was saying going into the season, when I tried to have self-confidence about the team, this is what I was referring to. Not because I believe in Kyrie, but because we're stuck with him. It's too late to try and do this, unless it's Dame. I don't want to hear any other name. It's too late. We're stuck with him. This is the team we have. You have to continue with what we have. You have to continue with the starting lineup of Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and insert our next center there, which I really hope is Drummond. It probably won't be, but I got my vote for Drummond, but that's another video, right? Whiteside or something like that. Whoever it is that we pick up, right? You have to continue that. Because again, unless it's Damian Lillard, there's no one on that tier that even makes sense to fit in that position. Unless we're going all out for Ben Simmons at point guard, which I don't know if y'all want to do that, but it's just not a good look. It's not going to work. You need someone out there to help Kevin Durant offensively. It's just not. It's too late. So that's the one side of it. Sean Marks is sick of it and just wants to get rid of Kyrie. I would echo that it's too late for that. You had your chance. This is the team we're stuck with. You made that decision, not us. That's what I would echo. The flip side of the coin is that Kyrie Irving wants to leave. And Kyrie Irving is tired of being in Brooklyn. The welcome has worn out. My bad. I just activated, I think, Bigsby or something like that. Hold on one second.
First, use your finger.
That's enough. That's enough out of you. That's enough out of you. My fault. Androids are weird. Anyway, the other side of the coin is that Kyrie doesn't want to be with us anymore. Kind of like what happened with the Celtics. Kind of like what happened with the Cavs. This man has just randomly decided that he doesn't like us anymore and he wants to leave. My issue with that, and this is coming from a Harden stan, I understand, but the issue with that, and the issue with that side of the coin, is a situation that it is 100% Kyrie Irving's fault that everything happened last year. Starting with him not wanting to get vaccinated. Everything bad that happened last year can be traced back to Kyrie Irving. I would say the blame is about 50-50 Steve Nash, Kyrie. About 50-50. And that says a lot because y'all know how much I blame Kyrie for things. But it's about 50-50. But that strong 50 is Kyrie. That 50 is really a 90. That 50 is really 100. But to be fair, I say 50-50 because Steve Nash really needs to be gone. But Kyrie Irving, as far as on the court and off the court, I might have to bump that to 90. I'm going to keep it a being with you. is 100% Kyrie Irving's fault. We don't have James Harden anymore because of Kyrie Irving, right? When Kevin Durant gets hurt and we start just free falling down the standings, that's Kyrie Irving's fault for not being there full time. Everything is that man's fault, right? After game one, yeah, it was a close game, could have been better. Ben Simmons being out there might have helped a little bit. Having a competent coach might have helped a little bit. What happened after that? It was Kevin Durant by himself against a team that went to the finals because Kyrie was nowhere to be found. After an entire game one of flicking off everyone in the building, which honestly, they deserved. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it, but they deserved after he let them get in his head like that, even in the home games, which is weird because you're at Barclays now, but that's not here or there. Where was Kyrie? What did that man contribute? A little 12 points here, a little 13 points, a little 17 there, oh, barely 20 here. When you trace back to everything terrible that happened over the course of the season, you can trace that back to Kyrie Irving. You cannot be the literal reason 2 years in a row that we don't win a championship on our last try. And then you decide you don't want to be with us anymore. You see, with the Harden thing, everybody likes to say he quit on the team, which he did. I'm not saying he did. And I gave him the business. Go back and look at the videos. I might be a stan, but I gave him the business, especially when he was dropping 4-point games. I was giving him the business. Even from the beginning of the season, I was screaming, wake up at the camera. But that's cool. So I just want to remind everyone before I destroy Kyrie real quick. The difference here is it was a situation of y'all need to pick. It's either me or Kyrie. And that's why he left, because they said Kyrie. And he said, all right, trade me. With Kyrie Irving, he was the sole reason why 2 years in a row, and I want to shed more light. I want to shed more light on why it's 2 years in a row, because a lot of y'all are probably thinking that I'm blaming him for getting injured in the playoffs. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm blaming him for the disappearing acts. Whether they were legitimate or not, Kyrie Irving being in and out of the lineup last year, which is last year because the season just ended. So last year, like fresh out the bubble type stuff, was one of the reasons why we weren't in that first place seed. Then maybe we avoid Milwaukee and we win a championship the year before. What I'm saying is, if after all we just went through with Kyrie Irving, after him playing, let's see, how many games did he play this season before? Like 20? And we lost like, I'm trying to remember, because I wasn't here for that part. I think he played like 20 games and we only won like 6 of those games. Like, I mean, like, how many times during the season did I say, like, Kyrie Irving by himself playing doesn't contribute to winning? Like we need that other person. The team itself this year was structured for all 3 of them to be out there. Once one of them leaves because of Kyrie, we were doomed and we all knew it. We tried to be positive with the addition of Ben Simmons, but then Ben Simmons didn't play, man. And to address that part, and I know this is a very long video, but this is a very complex issue that we have to unpack before we even talk about the hypotheticals. In my scenario where in the beginning of last season, when Kyrie tells us he's not getting vaccinated, and we already know what we're about to go through, with him not being with the team for half the season, then being a part-time player, before we even go through that, if we immediately trade for Ben Simmons, if he's having some type of a back issue, he's got an entire season to get surgery and get better or whatever he needs to do so he can return. And I will say until my dying breath, I like our chances of a motivated Harden and Kevin Durant against those Celtics than whatever Kyrie was doing game 2 through 4. We didn't just lose another offensive weapon when we lost James Harden. We lost a coach. And we were just stuck with Steve Nash at that point. And y'all saw what happened after Harden left. It's just ISO KD, ISO Kyrie, let them do what they do and outscore the opponent. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it really, really didn't. And it would have been nice to have a coach out there. But you can blame Kyrie for that. You can blame Kyrie Irving for that. Like, just imagine for a second. And maybe I'm getting my nasty Harden takes off here, but just like imagine for a second what Harden did for Clint Capella, right? How he was making Drummond look like, well, no, not Drummond because we traded him for him. Who do we have at center before that? Claxton. How he was making Claxton look, right? Imagine how he would have made Ben Simmons look. This man has a history of making people that are meh look, oh, wow. I think the only person who wasn't really benefiting was really Bruce Brown, but if you have him coming off the bench, he could have did that with the bench unit. So I'm not really sure how that's a negative. And again, you could say the same thing for when Ben Simmons is out there. You know, is that going to negatively impact Bruce Brown? Anyway, back to Kyrie. If that man leaves and we're seeing the Nets brass out there with Ben Simmons, like, is that our new promise child? Is the combination of Ben Simmons, insert other star, assuming we trade him, assuming we trade Kyrie and don't just let him walk, which we have a history of just letting people go and not getting anything back for it. Are we banking on the Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant combo? Because I got news for you. If it didn't work for Embiid, I don't know who y'all think Kevin Durant is. Like, if we need to have a real conversation about what he brings to basketball again, I don't know who y'all think KD is. If Ben Simmons, if Joel Embiid can't get nothing out of him, I don't know who y'all think Kevin Durant is. The point is, if Kyrie leaves us after being the literal reason why we never win a championship, because let's just list all the people that are gone. LaMarcus Aldridge is gone. Blake Griffin is gone. There's a chance that either Claxton or Bruce Brown are gone because Bruce is going to want to get paid. He took a pay cut to come back to us. I don't think, hey, let's try it again is going to be enough. I got a feeling Bruce Brown is gone. They might match Clax, like maybe, because I know they like Day'Ron Sharpe. It's a lot of centers in free agency. The Nets can be stupid sometimes. I don't know. You're talking about our entire core might be doing the cha-cha slide out the Barclays, and that just leaves us with a bunch of rookies who really didn't get to play. Ben Simmons, Joe Harris, Seth, Kevin. This is bad. This is really bad that the Nets have let this get to this point. You're going to let Kyrie leave us because either y'all realize too late it's time for him to go, or Kyrie just gives up on us, even though it's his fault, and just goes and shows that with LeBron. Are y'all processing how nasty this is? Hopefully I didn't ramble too much and you understand what I'm doing, because I'm trying to just lay it all out there for a second. That is how disgusting all this is. Either we realize too late it's time for him to go, or Kyrie's just going to leave us even though it's his fault. He's going to destroy another franchise and then leave because it's like, oh, this is broken. I don't like it anymore. Bro, it's your fault. And I'll tell you something, just doing the I told you so dance ain't going to be enough. It ain't going to be enough. Let me get back on Twitter and see if anything else has happened. It's been Sever the Bond from Nets Republic. I'm going to go cry. I'll see y'all later. Kyrie,